Guys, welcome back to another episode on the Coach Approach podcast. Thank you so much for joining me today. And today's episode, I'm going to be talking about my past, my journey to where I am now, from laborer on a roofing company to a successful online coach. I'm at a position now where I feel I can really explain where I've come from. Now, of course, if I wasn't successful, I wouldn't be having doing this podcast, but I'm at a position now where I've got a very successful online coaching business, and I'm hoping that I can give some inspiration to some people that may be in the same position or could be doing it could be thinking it's too late for them or whatever it might be. I'm hoping it might inspire just one person because I have come from the very, very bottom and I had very little experience in bodybuilding, really. And I wanted to be able to share my journey a little bit more. So it's a bit of a different one. Okay, this isn't an educational one or anything like that. I just want to get my story out there a little bit more, and in hope that someone may go, wow, if he can do it, I'm going to be able to do it. And don't get me wrong, I could lose all of my clients and then I wouldn't have a business. However, I've been able to keep a sustainable coaching business for a very long period of time now. I'm over 5 years into this game, and it's taken a while for me to get here. Don't get me wrong. There's some people that just do it straight away, but I am someone who was not one of those people, and I really, really did have to start from the very, very, very bottom. So for anyone who doesn't know, I was a labourer on a roofing company. I got back from Australia with very little money. I was living in Bali actually. I did have a lot of money saved, and then I actually spent it on a dodgy visa to try and get back into Australia, and it didn't work. So I was living in Bali, waiting for that to come through. It didn't, and then I came back to England, and I came back to live in my parents' place in their very small room. Bless them. And they took me in. My mum actually had to give me my car her car because I could not get a job anywhere. I didn't really have any experience apart from events. I did event management in Bournemouth Uni, and I was just looking around trying to find any type of work to get me busy and going. And it was the summer, and one. I don't know they're called now, but agencies. There you go, agencies. I just signed up and I said, just give me anything. I need something. I need to earn some money, and I went to do some remove some rubbish on a building like house, an apartment block, and it was for Clark's Roofing Company. And because I just got on and did my job, the others were just smoking on the side. One of the guys, the roofers, said, "I need a labourer for tomorrow. Do you want to come?" And I did. And then ended up working with him. I was terrible, by the way, guys. I hated every second of it. The guy was really nice. I can't remember. I think his name was Dave, I believe. He was an awesome person, an incredible roofer, flat roofer. So we were doing flat roofing. So nice. Obviously, I think I got on his tits because I was just shit at everything. I could not grasp manual labor, to be honest. Anything to do with manual labor, really, I'm awful at. And I think it was more so that I was just a not good person that he kept me on. Um, I was I had a little bit of muscle, so I was doing a lot of the leg work. So anyway, I was a labourer and I was with there for quite a while, and I was earning, I think, £55 a day. I was earning about 1,200 quid a month. I was like, this isn't going to be enough for me to even leave the house or leave my parents' place. So I end up going to work as a bartender in Brighton and Hove Albion Football Club. So I was doing a supervising role actually because I knew one of the guys. I used to work with him on the seafront. So I used to do that on match days. And then I was like, I need even more money. So I started doing Amazon delivery driver. So I was doing three jobs at once at one point. And I remember it was cold, it was raining, and one of the guys he said, can you just clean up the dirt that's all over the scaffold, like little rocks and little shit in them. And it was raining. I had my hood up. I was in my high vis with the Clark's roofing thing, and I was using a dustpan and brush. And I literally I remember this so clearly because I was by the seafront, and I remember looking out at the sea, going, "What the fuck am I doing with my life? I'm 27 years old, 26, 27 years old. I feel like I am at the bottom of the pile. What am I doing cleaning up dirt?" And I kind of had a light bulb moment, and then I joined an online PT personal training course to learn to be a PT because I was like, right, I love training. I would always train early in the morning before I started work at 7, or I would train in the evening, and I loved training. Even though I was pretty crap at it, I didn't have much muscle to show for it. I just loved being in that gym environment. And then I got that. I did it in 3 months. You know, it was an online course. Did it in 3 months. I put my head down, got it done, over and done with. And then my local gym, Anytime Fitness, the gym I was going to, I got on quite well with the manager. I rang him up. I learned they were looking for a new PT because they got rid of the other one. And I said, look, I've only just started as a PT. I've got no experience. I have no idea really what I'm doing. The PT course itself isn't very good, by the way, guys. If you're wanting to be a personal trainer, yes, you need that qualification, but it teaches you, honestly, I would say 0.0005% of what you should be learning if you're going to be a real personal, successful coach and personal trainer. So I end up having a conversation with him. He really liked the way he was watching me on my Instagram and my education and me learning more because I was very vocal that I was becoming a PT. And he got me, and then he said, "I think about it." And he got back to me a few days later. I was in Hampden Park, little park that was right near my mum's, walking my dog. And I said, "That's amazing. Thank you so much." He offered me the job, told me to come in. Now, the job itself wasn't paid. So I wasn't actually earning any money still. I had to still get clients, and it was working on like a 60-40 split. So if I charged 100 quid, I would get 60, the gym would get 40 quid. So I was like, right, what am I going to do? I'm going to really have to try and take some things down in terms of the laboring. So that's when I was like, right, I need to start reducing my laboring because the laboring was like 7 till 4, 5 o'clock. It was long. And then I had the supervising role on match days and then the Amazon delivery driver. So I was like, right, I need to work this out. I'm going to reduce my um, laboring hours. And I think I ended up like taking some days down and said, look, can I work this? And they said, that's fine. So I ended up doing like, I think it was like 3 days for a little bit. But I was upping my Amazon delivery driver as well, work. So I was doing a little bit more to make sure I was like accommodating. And all the other time I was spending at the gym, I was learning from the manager, going, what should I do? And he's like, right, just go around, clean up the gym a little bit, and, start talking to people, start trying to look at getting clients, start seeing if anyone needs help, all that type of stuff. Eventually, I started collecting a few more clients. I then said, right, I need to really go all in with this. I need to stop the laboring completely. And I did. I said, look, I'm going to stop laboring completely. They didn't want me to. They were like, are you sure this is like very, very like, are you sure you're going to do this? You're not going to earn much money. Like, they didn't want me to do it. And if I listened to them, I would still be there. But I said, no, I'm going to risk it. And that point as well, I still managed to on the Amazon delivery driver, it's like first come, first serve. So you've got to be on it to like there'll be a notification, there's a job, and you've got to quickly accept. So I had to make sure I was on it like that. I was still doing the supervising role in the bar. And then I was spending nearly all of my time in the gym, speaking, chatting to people, seeing if they wanted help. And I eventually started growing my clientele, and I still didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I literally didn't know what I was doing. I had no one to really teach me. There was the gym manager who was teaching me some things like what he would know, but he's not a personal trainer. I had no PT in front of me or PT in that gym to go, right, this is what you need to do, this is how you set people up, this is what all this stuff. I was the only personal trainer there. So I was trying to figure out how can I transform people's physiques? How do I do check-ins? What am I doing with support? Like, does the free, like I was charging £300 for ten sessions. What does that include? I have no idea. I really had absolutely zero clue. I had no coach in the terms of like investing in a coach to help me. And I winged it for a long period of time, and I still managed to earn quite a bit of money. And because I went so in with it, and I think it was because of my personality, I managed to. Do you know what actually happened? Yeah, I managed to book myself out, and I was working all the time, but I went down. I couldn't get clients for £300 for 10 sessions. So I said to the gym, I'm going to charge £160. This is legit, £160 for 8 sessions a month, twice a week. Now I've got my phone in front of me, and I remember I think it's about £14. I think 160 divided by 8. Oh, it's £20. Yes, because you take away 40%, which is about 10 to, yeah, I was earning about £14 per session. That really was pretty terrible for how much I was doing, because I was doing the personal training, I was doing the support outside, I was trying to learn how to do check-ins, I was learning these coaching apps, all this type of stuff, whilst then going, right, I really don't know anything. I need to start investing in some education. So at that point, I was £160 for 8 sessions. I was the cheapest PT I think anyone would even thought of. The clientele there weren't obviously the best because of the area. There was a lot of people on the dough, funny enough. And I built myself up to like, I was packed out. But because I was so cheap, I was getting burnout. I was obviously not help. I was giving people personal training, but a lot of people weren't transforming as much as I needed them to, or so much I can get social proof. So I was like, gee, what am I don't know what I'm doing. And then I saw another personal trainer I followed repost a story of the muscle mentors, and I went, that's interesting. What is that? I went onto the muscle mentors and I saw the website and it was education, bodybuilding education. I went, amazing. I'm going to learn that. Then that was like £30 a month. And that was a push for me, like 30, £40 a month. Because at that point, I'd moved into the flat with my girlfriend, Naomi. And, bills, I was probably earning 1,500 to maybe 1,700 maximum. And my bills, food, everything were like 1,003. So I was living on very, very small amounts of money. Um, for quite a while in the flat whilst my girlfriend was earning a really good amount of money. I don't know why she stayed with me, to be honest. Um, so I was struggling that way, but I was still enjoying the process and what I was doing. So I learned a lot on the muscle mentors. I was learning on their website. I was on their live calls Thursday at 8 p.m. I then started learning a little bit more on transformations, on how muscles are actually contracted, how training is, biomechanics. I was like, oh my God, I never knew all of this. So I just got obsessed with that. And then I joined forums like the Trained by JP, which was £9 a month, and I was learning on the forums. So the forums, they were just people asking us questions and the athletes would answer. I used to sit through so many pages looking at the questions and seeing what the athletes would say and writing things down to see what that if that came up in my situation, I would kind of know what to do because that's what they would do. So I learned a lot on like forums. I then had a what's it called? I was then able to then bring down the Amazon delivery driver. So I then was stopped to that because then I started earning around, 1,008, 1,009, 2,000. I was like, right, okay, this is going quite well. Well, I say quite well. It still wasn't as well as what I wanted it to. I then went to a muscle mentors course, but that was £500. I couldn't afford that. Naomi paid for me to go, which was incredible from her. So she paid for that for me, and I met some amazing people that I'm still in contact with, some people that have done incredible things so far. And that was the biggest eye opener on how to train. I learned what training to failure meant. I learned what needed to be put, how they needed to be pushed. I didn't learn any of this stuff in the personal training course. And I came back going, wow, now I really understand what I need to do and how I need to push clients. Because I was just going, right, do your 3 times 8 to 12. Okay, good. There was no intensity. There was no like proper execution. I wasn't really pushing anyone. I understood then this is why I'm not creating massive transformations. Fat loss was a little bit easier. I still remember one of the first transformations I did. Her name, she was like a 55-year-old lady. She lost like 10 pounds and I was buzzing with it. And I think I still have a photo with us on a clipboard saying I've lost 10 pounds, which is, I look back and think it's pretty amazing. So then I started learning more and more and more. And then lockdown happened and I was like, shit, I have no way of making money because I'm self-employed and I didn't get paid from the gym. They weren't going to give me any kind of money, any furlough or anything like that. And I had to do sessions outside in the freezing cold as well. So I was doing sessions for £15 a month. I was driving around Eastbourne. I was advertising it. I was doing some group classes. And I just had to do as much as I could to earn whatever I could as well. I was literally just grabbing things, whatever. I wasn't worried about technique, anything. It was just like, let's just train, just keep fit. Let's do jumping squats, all that type of stuff. And then I started to learn more about the online. Some actually clients did Zoom. I actually do remember Max. We started doing Zoom coaching, and thinking back at it now, I'm like, I was on Zoom right like I am now. If you're watching on YouTube, and I was like, right, 3 times 8 to 12 abs, right, 3 times 8 to 12 uh, goblet squats. It was really weird time actually, and now I'm really thinking about it. And a couple of people did do that, and I charged the same £15 for the hour for Zoom, and I didn't. Yeah, come think of it, I was like, and then I was checking the rest time. I remember yeah, it was crazy time. I was just trying to find money wherever I could, while still trying to help people, trying to keep fit. I then started learning more about online coaching. I saw some people doing it. I seen how does that work, and then after lockdown happened, I did then invest in a coach. I was like, right, I'm starting to earn a little bit more money now. I need to understand what it's like to learn from the best. So the owner of the Muscle Mentors course, the bodybuilding education platform, I reached out to him and I said, look, I really want to be coached by you. I'm nowhere near where I need to. I need to learn, I want to do all this stuff. And he took me on. he was a lot of money, a lot of money, more money than I've probably said to Naomi. And that was a big dent in my income. However, I was learning more and more from him, and I learned one to one from him. I did the check-ins, I understand what I needed to do. And I invested, I spent over a year with him, which was a lot of money, but it helped me get on the course of where I am now. So that's the biggest thing. And we're in the flat now. I'm starting to earn money. I'm starting to learn about more education. I end up going to Dubai as well, which my mother and my father paid for the flight because again, I didn't have all the money to be able to go over there. They were like, right, we'll pay for the flight, which was 600 quid, and I was able to pay for the hotel. I then understood more about service. I understood more about online coaching. What do I need to do here? Because I had no idea. I was starting to build up knowledge more and more and more. And I was like, how do I actually make this into a business, like proper business, a profitable business, but also a business that I'm proud of, a business that I love, a business that I'm here to help people, but also be able to charge what I'm worth, and so on. So before that, I was charging around £40 a month for online coaching. I'm a lot more now than that, but I had no idea what I was doing. So I've made a billion mistakes. I've lost a lot of clients at the beginning of my journey because I was just purely learning what the hell I was doing. And I got to that point where after Dubai, learning more about the service, I was still PTing, but then I was able to bring my PT down to 2 days a week because my online coaching started to slowly pick up a little bit more. And I moved into the house with Naomi, who paid for it, and because again, I didn't have enough money. And the I was coaching twice a week. Twice a week, I was still earning good money in the PTing, but I brought it down a little bit because honestly, I was working like 10-hour days on the gym floor, and then in the evening, I was coming back to work on my online. Naomi barely saw me, and she nearly broke up with me because she was like, "What's the point of us being in a relationship?" So I did a lot. I was up at 4 or 5 in the morning. I was going for a walk, listening to podcasts as well. Another thing, I was listening to a lot of podcasts of education, and then I was into the PT for 10 hours of the day. Then I was back home doing the online coaching, and I did that on repeat for so much. I kind of went into a hole where I didn't see many people. I barely saw my girlfriend. Maybe on a Sunday for course we were chilling out, but I was going deep diving into all of this, the education, the work, just trying to earn money, all that type of stuff. So we got to the point where the gym itself, and I'm not going to speak bad of the gym, but because they gave me the platform to begin with, but they got very, very angry with my online coaching business and they wanted to take a cut of my online coaching business. And I said, no, it's got nothing to do with you guys if I'm coaching people that's not even in this gym and they're around Eastbourne or they disagreed. And this went on for about 6 months back and forth until they pulled me into a meeting saying, right, they think they wanted all of the names that I was coaching in the gym. I was only coaching two people at that time online. And they were like, they didn't believe me. They thought I was coaching like half of the gym. And they still wanted a cut. They wanted a 50-50 cut of my online coaching. And I said that's impossible. It literally has nothing to do with you. And it was like a 3 hour meeting. And I think I got to the point and said, okay, guys, I'm now done. I cannot do this anymore. I cannot explain to you anymore that you're not going to take my online business. It's a good amount of money for me. I'm not about to give you something that's got nothing to do with you. And I gave my notice and I only worked for the next 2 weeks. It was a massive big blow up, big argument, and I shook their hand and said thank you for what you've done. I appreciate it. I'm off now. Now at that point, my online coaching business only covered really the last my bills in the house and a tiny bit more. That's literally it. So I came back home and I sat down and I went, shit. I have not got enough money to I have got enough money to pay my bills, but if I start losing clients and like I do, like clients come and go, I'm in the shit. I really am in the shit. So I remember sitting down going, what am I going to do? I went into autopilot. There was no plan B. The thought process of me having to go back to laboring to earn money was not an option. I said to myself, I would never, 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 ever go back to that. And I think that was a huge motivator for me to just put my head down, not see anyone again, and just work, 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 and figure out what I'm doing. And there was actually a book that I read that successful people, and I only knew this after where I am now, that people who are successful don't have a plan B. They know that that's it. If they can, there's no option to fail. And I invested in a business mentor I actually, yeah, I invested into, no, I invested into my second coach, Louis, who I'm still with now. And I had done a photo shoot at that time. Apologies. I did do a photo shoot in that time. And then I left. And then that's when I was like, shit. I then invested in some business mentors into their group program, which was a monthly thing, because I was like, right, I need to understand how to do this. They're £99 a month. And I need to understand where they're coming from because what they're posting is what I relate to a lot. Now, before I even done that, that was in a January. So I left the gym in August. I then was like, right, what am I going to do? I need money quick, and I've got good transformations. I got good solid portfolio at the moment. Like it's still building, but it's decent enough to get to for get inquiries. I created an 8 week. I called it the 8 week blitz, and I got a lot of money from that, and I got a lot of people on there, and I transformed some people's physiques, which was great. I went brilliant. I earned quite a bit of money from that, and that kept me for a little for the next few months. I then was head down with content, head down with training, head down with just putting myself out there more. And that between that August to November to December was a really it was really good. I was earning more money than I was from my PT and my online coaching business combined. And I was like, okay, wow. So the last 3 months I went on autopilot. I earned more money, did the blitz. That gave me a solid amount of income to kind of back on and keep me in a bit of a safety net. And then in the January, I invested into the business mentors at that £99 a month. That opened my eyes a lot more, and I started going, oh, okay. And that what they were saying was to be yourself more, do all this, do all that, completely different to what other people have told me. And I really enjoyed that. I like the way they were encouraging me just to be myself more. And I'd been with them for 2 years, and took me to the place where my content has changed. I'm now not trying to all do education, which I was told to before. One of my mentors back in the past told me to do 90% education, 10% about me. And my new mentors were like, post 90% about you, 10% education. Um, and nurture, just provide value every day and be yourself and have fun and create YouTube channels and do that. And I really, really took from that. And I was like, right, I've actually enjoyed making content. I've enjoyed making YouTube channels. I've enjoyed doing the email marketing. I've enjoyed, doing more of the 8 week programs, and that became very successful. So I've done now seven. I'm about to start my eighth or ninth. And they've all been very, very successful, which has been another form of income, but also another way for people to work with me at a lower cost because now I've now been able to do photo shoots. I've done like group photo shoots. I've done 2 photo shoots myself. I've done a bodybuilding show. I put myself in all of the positions I need to for people to look at me and can trust me over a period of time. I don't expect people to invest in me if they've just started to follow me. I want to build trust and show that I'm leading from the front. So that was another thing. When I invested in the business mentor, I also said to my coach Louis, I want to do a bodybuilding show. So did a bodybuilding show, and then we did another photo shoot. I was establishing myself more and more as a leading coach because I was putting myself through everything, and I was willing to do that. Now, a lot of people say, what is your why for doing the bodybuilding show? My why wasn't because I wanted to, like I really deep down wanted to. My why was because I wanted to show and prove to people that I can be a leading coach. And I wanted my clients to say, look, that's Dom, that's my coach. He's done this and done that. So that kept me driven. And I came third in London as well at Men's Physique, unassisted. There were people in there that were assisted, meaning they were taking PEDs, performance enhancement drugs. I wasn't. So I deep dived into leading from the front. I was sat on the computer supporting clients. I was creating 8 week programs. I was doing photo shoot journeys. I was doing all of this type of stuff. I then was able to increase my income, which then I was able to invest in Michael, who was doing some videography for me. And all of these things have come down to it was a blessing in disguise, really, to leave the gym because now my income is 4 times as much as what I left from that, and it's put me in the position where I am now. It's helped me pay for it's as what everything that I earn is goes back into the business pretty much onto courses, my mentors, my computer, my laptop, all this type of stuff that helps me work. And it's just been putting myself into these positions in the photo shoot, in the bodybuilding, and also one thing someone can be a fantastic coach in terms of their knowledge, but they can be a fucking asshole. If they are an asshole, they're not going to be working. You can't work well with them. I believe my personality, I'm someone I can get on with a lot of people. That's my personality. I'm not a dickhead. I'll say things how it is, but I'm not a dickhead. And that's what I feel I've been able to put across on my social media because I've been able to relate to a lot of people. Um, and this coaching business is a people's business. I have to. I give empathy. I'm interested in my clients. I'm interested in not in that way, but I'm interested in my clients' life, like what they're doing, how they're getting on, what's their relationships like, how they feeling. I have a lot of female clients that go through a lot of shit, and I've had females that go through breakups when they're coaching with me. And it's just being a good person in helping someone in their life and also fitness and giving them that direction and accountability. I've been I started from the very bottom, not hating myself, hating my life, hating where I was, feeling like I was so behind. All my friends were ahead of me. Some people had houses, kids, and I was in my mum's room, my mum and dad's spare room, earning £1,200 a month. It was horrendous. I didn't know anything about bodybuilding because I never really bodybuilded in the first place. I just went to the gym. I then had to learn so much. I've invested probably now about 20 to 30 grand into my knowledge of training, nutrition, all that type of stuff. I put myself into positions like the photo shoots to show you how to do it. I wanted to learn how to do it. I never want to put someone through a photo shoot if I never done it myself. I did the bodybuilding show to establish myself more as a coach. I invested in mentors. I've got Louis, who's my coach, who's actually an educator as well. So I learned from him one to one. And now recently, I've invested in a a one to one coach who's an incredible person who's also helping me be me more. He's telling me, what do I want? How do I want to live my life? Like, what do I want to do? How do I want to be as a coach? And he's helping me define or refine myself as a leading coach in the industry. And he's a lot of money, and so is Louis a lot of money. But I've never been shy to, as soon as I've got money, to invest into my personal development. And it has been a big dent in my income. Don't get me wrong. I could be a lot more richer now. I'm not saying I'm super rich, but I could be richer if I didn't have Louis or my other mentor and all the other things that I've invested in. But that's what's got me to where I am today because I've learned from them and understood what I needed to do and how to come across and how to be myself and how to create lead magnets, how to create photo shoot preps, how to create, fat loss transformations, roadmap, how I can create my what I have in my head, how I can put that across into a coaching service. So yeah, that's kind of where I was, where I am now, and I have successful photo shoot preps twice a year. I have 2 to 3 8-week fat loss programs, which is now called the 8-week peak physique. I have over 45 to 50 clients at a time. I have 49 clients at the moment. Um, and it's in a very good position. And don't get me wrong, like these things, the clients will come and go for sure. But the goal for me is to continuously add value, create amazing relationships, transform people's physiques, show them how confident they can be, show them how what they can transform their body into. Because I've been there, I've been that skinny guy. I hated the way I looked in the mirror, and you know what? I still look in the mirror and go, "Fucking hell, I wish I was much bigger." I'm always striving to do more, and I'm looking to just continuously build this coaching business. I'm 32 years old now. I've had so many ups and downs. I've wanted to quit a billion times. I remember I lost 14 clients in one day. I remember I didn't even I felt like crying. I was driving to the PT the gym, and I said that's for me was like nearly £2,000 gone in a day. I had no um, leaving period. They just left, and I was like, shit. And I remember shouting in my car, going, "I will make this work," because I wanted it so bad, and I just kept my head down. But I could have quit there. I could have just got a job at Tesco's, but I didn't. And I think there's been probably more downs than ups for sure, and I've had more fails than successes. In everything, but I think that again has put me in the position where I am now, rather than me just quitting and going back to what I was doing and hating life because I love what I do. There are always going to be ups and downs, and there's always going to be challenges, but there's also going to be like very big highs. There's an interview I think it was Seth Rogen that spoke about careers and how you can and how people make it, and his quote was so powerful. I think it was on the Diary of the CEO. He said, if you quit, you definitely won't get there. If you don't quit, you might get there. And that stuck with me for a long time, saying, well, if I quit, I definitely won't get there. But if I don't quit, there's still the possibility of me getting there. And I always hung on to that possibility. And don't get me wrong, am I going to be coaching for the rest of my life? I don't know. I want to create a team at one point, at some point. I want to make investments. Will I be doing check-ins into my 40s and 50s? I don't know. At the moment, I know I'm building and building, building. It's successful. I have incredible clients that come and go as well. I have clients that come back. I've got a couple clients finishing soon, but we end it in accordingly to I end it professionally. I always do the end of coaching loom. And we finish off, and I always like to leave. I always like a coaching relationship to finish on a high as well, because I know it's always never going to be for forever. But I have got clients that have been with me for 3, 4, 5 years. I've had one client started with me as a PT and is still with me as an online coach, so as an online client. But my goal for me is provide value, give great service, transform people's physiques, and lead from the front all the time. So that's my story from laborer to online successful coach. I was at the bottom. I learned. I put myself into it. Listened to tons of podcasts. Went on forums to learn. Got coaches to learn from one to one. And it's a long journey for me. I know some people that started coaching and were in it, had done it within 6 months to the point where I am now. It's taken me years. And that's just the way it happens in my life for some reason. Everything I do, it takes much, much longer. And I've accepted that. So anything I do try, I know it's going to take me longer than any other person. And that's just the way the cards have been dealt for me. But anyway, I thought that was maybe a bit of an insight for you guys from what I've been through. And I haven't even covered everything yet, but I didn't want to be rambling on for so long on my own. And hopefully I haven't bored you guys. But yeah, I hope I've inspired someone or anyone to whatever they're doing now, and then just to go for it and know that it might take time. There's a lot of time that needs to be made. There's a lot of time that you'll lose. There's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be fails. And I can only speak now because I'm at the position I'm in. Um, I wouldn't be doing this podcast if I didn't feel confident in the coaching business that I have, and where I am with everything right now. So yeah, hopefully this has helped you. Look at I've seen my YouTube podcast as well. This is all things that I've now wanted to do so that I've got the knowledge to be able to give to you. So, when I started as a PT, I never thought I'd be doing a podcast, never thought I'd be doing a YouTube, but I'm confident enough now to let people into my life and to let people into my own life and to give as much value as I can through all these channels. So have a fantastic rest of your day. Have a fantastic rest of your day, guys. Thank you for listening to this podcast. Hope you've lasted to the end, and I will